Inhale. Exhale. Breathe, motherfuckers. Welcome, one and all, to another book review. Today I have The Wim Hof Method by Wim Hof. Why did I read this book? Well, I have talked about Wim Hof a lot of times on the podcast and his method. So I originally found him a couple of years ago, listened to him on some podcast and thought, man, this guy's, he's charismatic as all hell. And I thought, you know what, this is interesting. I'm going to start trying out his method. So I tried out some of the breathing in particular. I've talked about that a lot. And I guess I just wanted the text version of his words because there's some things that you can get through books where the author has to put in a lot more time and effort to really think about their words. Wim is very loose with his words, so he says a lot of things. And I just wanted to try it out and see what it was like in the text version. So this book was published in 2020, so very recently. And it's a layman's guide to his breathing method, but also a biography. And it covers the benefits before ending with a little bit of, I guess, his spiritual philosophy. So jumping right into the themes, the three pillars. What are the core pillars of the Wim Hof breathing method? And they are the breath, the mind, and the code. So the breath, I've explained this a lot of times, but I'll give a quick one here. It's essentially 30 to 40 breaths in deep inhalation, smoother exhalation. On the final exhalation of the 30 or 40, you hold it at the bottom, so you retain it at the bottom with your air, no air in the lungs, and just hold that as long as you can before taking a recovery breath in all the way up as deeply as you can, holding that for 15 seconds, and then you go back to the 30 to 40 breaths. So that is one round. He recommends doing about 3 to 5 rounds, which will take every day, which takes about 20 minutes to do. What does this actually do? Well, he claims that the blood will get oxygen saturated and it's improving your immune health. Now, it's very hard to describe what actually happens, but you're not hyperoxygenating the blood. You're not putting more oxygen into the blood. You're hyperventilating and getting rid of the carbon dioxide, which then naturally builds up back again. And also claims to make the blood pH level a bit more basic, a bit more alkaline. I think this is scientifically true, but I haven't personally read the studies confirming whether that is or not. The mind is essentially mindfulness meditation, so doing some sort of meditation time where you're sitting by yourself and looking inwards and introspecting, whether that be through the standard just watching your breath in and out, realizing or taking attention of all your senses that are occurring through the body, loving kindness practice where you're sending out love to the world, that sort of stuff. Doesn't really matter what, but he says this so you can get, I guess, conscious control of your mind and your body. The final one, the cold, is what he is well known for. He's also known as the Iceman. So he has done some incredible stunts, going to the top of Mount Everest in nothing but shorts, where he actually managed to get a little bit of, gangrene or frostbite on one of his toes, but still basically did this insane feat. He's done all sorts of things by diving under the ice, like long world records for diving under the ice, running in the Arctic, doing like a half marathon in the snow, and just crazy, crazy stuff. And so what he recommends, though, for the people reading or to doing his method is cold showers or ice baths. Now, this is for metabolic efficiency and reduced inflammation. He says about 2 minutes for the cold shower. For the ice baths, probably about the same, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more if you can tolerate it. I tried doing this. It's pretty hard here in Australia and Queensland, where in summer, your cold shower is actually more just like a lukewarm shower. So it's not really doing anything, but you do what you can. And it's those three combined is what makes up his method. He basically advocates, you get the full benefits if you do all of these in conjunction rather than just doing one or two of them on their own. Now, what are the benefits that he claims? These basically can be categorized in health, performance, and then the beyond. So he has plenty of testimonials in the book of people claiming how it's not cured, but some of them saying it's basically cured their underlying conditions or infirmities. So there's I guess, like testimonials of someone who had ulcerative colitis, multiple sclerosis, breast cancer, chronic pain, and bipolar disorder. These, I'll talk about these in a little bit more. So basically the method, he says, it has all these benefits, these scientific benefits, and it can help all these people with these sorts of diseases, or it has helped. Maybe not it can, but it has. So he uses a bit of the scientific method here, where he has had doctors looking at his blood and injecting him with a dead E. coli bacteria, and his body managing to fight it off. He has all these sorts of impressive things of being able to, warm the temperature up in his hand, sort of take control of the immune system in a sort of way, which most people or most doctors would say is impossible. And yeah, there's a bunch of studies which he has jumped into, and he is quite big on the scientific method in a certain way. And I'll talk a bit more about that soon. The other one is there's claims of improving sexual and athletic performance, pain regulation, and stress control. So it's not just for pure health, but it's also to make your life better by doing his method. The last part of the book, in the last couple of chapters, he gets into where he sort of lost me a lot, which was the strange areas of talking about the original cell, ancestral DNA, love, inner light, spirits of the past, cleansing your DNA, and the soul sense. So it's a bit strange because he does have this sort of very scientific outlook on one hand, and then on the other hand, he's a gigantic hippie. And he always has been, which is, part of his charm, but also, I guess, part of the danger of listening to him too deeply. So my personal observations of the book. I had a conversation with Brendan, and this video, it will be released 2 days or 3 days after that. So if you want to know more about a conversation around the Wim Hof Method, it's worth going and checking that out with Brendan. That's number 35. And one of the things that he had, an insight he had, which I thought was quite interesting, was the main takeaway is that the method is for health. So it's not as effective if you already are pretty healthy. Like I'm pretty informed. No, I mean, I'm young. I don't have the infirmities that a lot of the people that he was addressing and talking about in this book suffer from, such as arthritis, just general pain, immune disorders, immune whatever it is. So this method probably isn't going to be as effective for me. And after doing it for 4 months, I can't really say it's had a tremendous benefit for my life. I've sort of been doing a bunch of those things anyway. I was doing the meditation before I even knew about Wim Hof. The cold showers, I'd heard about the benefits of that, before him, even though I hadn't particularly put it into practice. The breathing as well, while interesting and cool, I wouldn't say I'm healthier for it. I was doing it mostly for the, retention holds, just trying to see if I could hold my breath for longer. So, and that's not the best way of doing that. That's not really what the emphasis is on. And so, maybe because my mental state was in that way, I'm not getting the full benefits of the method. I'm not too sure. And I'm not getting the cold because it's just very hard to do that here in Brisbane. So for me, I guess there was a couple of things that really just pinged my bullshit meter a little bit. Definitely the end of the book where he's talking about, free love and all these sorts of things. It sort of got me going, that's not really scientific. You can't prove any of that. And while it's beautiful language and all that stuff, it's the sort of guru realm that people can take advantage of, and the sort of things where you've seen cult leaders saying these same sort of things and then taking advantage of their students. I'm not comparing Wim Hof to any of these people. From what I can tell, he's been ethically sublime, but there is a danger to claiming things like this where it's not as scientifically valid. And I sort of got the feeling that he was using the scientific method just because it was working for him at the moment. And it's not that he ascribes to the method in total. So it would be interesting to know what he does with scientific results that dispute his method or don't affirm what he is saying. Does he still stand by them, or would he then, brush them under the rug and saying that's not real science or whatever? Some interesting hypotheticals to think about. But I suppose in summary, The book is an overview of his method that translates his message into a different format. So he is a very charismatic, cool guy. Watching him, and I've said this plenty of times, if anyone, I'm going to join a cult, it's going to be the Wim Hof cult, because he is such a fun guy. He's such a cool guy. But when you take that away, his message from the actual person, I think it gives a bit of a clearer look at what he's actually saying. Parts of his personality do show up in the book, but it's a lot easier to separate that when you don't have the visual and the audio input as well. So for me, it started on a pretty firm scientific ground, but got shakier towards the end as he started using language a little bit more flowery, a little bit less precise. For me, the language and the tactics, I didn't find convincing. When there's people sending testimonials and you put testimonials in your book of this blah, blah, blah happened, this person got this, it just reminds me of those websites where it's, this testimonial of this person, oh yeah, this is really awesome. And it's sort of like, then the next thing you know, they're asking for your money. He's not doing that in the book, but it's the tactics that he used weren't convincing for me. I'll just put it that way. So unfortunately, this is going to be actually a quite harsh rating, but I'm giving the book, The Wim Hof Method, a 4 out of 10. It's probably one of the lowest ones I've done in a while. The main problem I had with it is it made me lose a little bit of respect for Wim, and for maybe just realize, I guess, the limitations of his method, separating his message from the actual person himself. So the book itself didn't convince me, and actually unconvinced me that there was, lots of benefits, and that everything he says should be taken as gospel, which I was sort of doing a little bit because he is so charismatic and fun. It's like, hell yeah, let's just believe everything this guy says. So it got me questioning a little bit about his commitment to the scientific method as well, which I feel I'm not sure of his full intentions with that. Is it something he fully ascribes to? Considering his past as a hippie, as that sort of background, I would say probably not. But that's me putting words in someone else's mouth. So that's my little review of the Wim Hof Method. It was something pragmatic I'm going to take. It's probably the opposite of what he would wanted, but I'm actually going to stop doing his breathing and I guess the method in general. I'll still take cold showers. I'll still do meditation, but those aren't because the method has convinced me. So that's stuff I was interested beforehand. And for me, spending 20 minutes a day on doing his breathing, while interesting, I'm glad I did it for that 4 months period. The benefits from it, I'm not really seeing. And I think there's other ways I could be using my time. And if I want to be focusing more on getting a stronger breath hold in, like a retention time, there's free diving techniques which are actually a better way of doing that. So an interesting book. I would recommend this book or this method for people who maybe have these underlying health conditions, who modern medicine hasn't helped to the full degree that they think, or want to try something new, want to try something that maybe is a little bit out of the box and could potentially have some benefits, and obviously has benefited a lot of people. Hell yeah, go for it, try it out, see if it works for you. But for me, at this stage of my life, it's sort of something that it's just not that important to me. So that's my overall review of the book. I hope you enjoyed. What are your thoughts on Wim Hof? Is he a charlatan? Which I don't think he is, but how important is the breathing? Are there potentially other ways of improving your health which are better? And leave a review if you could. That would be very nice, or a comment or a like or whatever it is. And until the next book review, Karen out.